G'day everyone, EmrickXV here and welcome back to 365 days in Minecraft Hardcore, and we've just hit October. I hope you enjoyed September. We had to start a new world because the tower. So early bird catches the worm on day 29 and a couple of creepers. There was one that snuck up on me though, and it was a close call. Have to sort something out about that. We decided to go diamond hunting. We had just enchanted a pick and diamonds finally started flowing in. It was a good mining session. We caught quite a lot of resources with our Fortune 2 diamond pickaxe. It was time to go. Check this out. What a haul. 30 odd diamonds. Now, on day 30, I want to thank Sagiki Gamer for letting me know how to put a chest on a donkey. We've now got a walking, running shulker box. We also started breeding up our cows. We needed to keep on cracking on with the leather because I wanted to have plenty of books to be able to work on getting enchantments for our kit. Because that's right, we went into diamonds. Full diamond kit, minus the helmet because we're sticking with gold for the time being. We finished the day clearing out some of our sugarcane and doing some basic base management. It was a pretty nice day. We didn't do a lot, but we just did little bits and pieces. Day 31 was working on getting some enchanted kit underway. This is a pretty handy sword. The zombie/drown farm isn't really efficient, but it's keeping us around level 30, which is very handy. Continued with our base management, gathering up our wheat and other resources so that we had plenty of food for our cows. I had a look at our iron amounts as well, and we had enough to be able to make an anvil. An anvil's going to be very helpful moving forward, combining enchanted gear and improving our kit overall. On day 32, we decided to look at some mob proofing, so we made an absolute stack of torches. I decided to light up the area around my immediate base. 5x5 should be enough for torch placement. We didn't want to have any unexpected guests like we had earlier. Case in point, this guy. This is what we don't want spawning around us. Or these guys for that matter. These guys are particularly tricky in the birch forests, so with lighting all this area up, we should be able to keep ourselves relatively safe. Now, I have to admit, it did take me a little while because I wanted to make sure I was doing it in a 5x5 grid pattern. I don't know how many torches I broke to get it done, but whenever we had trees in the way, we cleared them out to maintain the 5x5 grid. On day 34, we spent some time breeding up the cows and then continued on with our torch placement. We got pretty good in the end. We eventually got there, and most of our area around the base was completely lit up. And hopefully that means we're going to stay pretty safe in this hardcore world. But you know what? Anything can happen. It has taken about 3 days to get all this done. But now I can walk around at night feeling quite comfortable and confident that we're not going to have any unexpected surprises. This was our last day of torch placement. It had been quite an epic journey, but pretty boring. And yet, an opportunity presented itself at the end of day 35. We spotted a zombie villager on a nearby island, so we wanted to go and capture our first villager. Wrangling it into a boat wasn't particularly difficult. Jumped in, jumped out, captured the villager, killed a drowned. Easy stuff. But we wanted to make sure our villager stayed protected. So a little bit of a cobblestone roof to make sure no sun could get to him. On day 36, we encountered a drowned with a trident. That's probably one issue with having a base right next to the water. trident-wielding drowned. Sorted. Oh, and we got a second villager captured over on the island. We cleared out some trees that took us from the main base around to our zombie spawner. And grabbed a few levels in the process. We wanted to do a little bit more enchanting, so a few more levels isn't going to hurt. We want to start getting our armor kitted out, so looking for protection here. On day 37, we took our trusty shulker box steed out to all the abandoned shipwrecks to collect the excess stock we left behind. We found some cows on the way and did that. And what have we got here? A jungle biome. That will be incredibly useful. Let's put the trusty shulker steed down here somewhere and go and collect some resources, because jungles have got very handy things like bamboo. Super handy for making our scaffolding. The day had passed really quickly, so we had to go and put a bed down and have a rest and look at collecting more stuff in the morning. We've got some very cool biomes not far away. I wonder if a jungle could be a good place for our main base. Let me know in the comments to see if you think we should set up here. We took down one jungle tree because I wanted to take some saplings back to camp. And we also found some melons. Good food source. Yes, a parrot. We've got another pet, and it took a little while, but yes, we found a parrot at the end of day 38. We began the long trek back to camp with our trusty shulker box steed and our newly acquired parrot. We came across a nether portal on the way, so we had to loot that. I mean, wouldn't you? It's a long way back. I think we took the whole day. Day 39 to make it all the way back to camp. We may have to put some little bridges up here somewhere as well. But yes, night had fallen and day 39 had come to an end. I wonder what we should do next. I know. Let's go look for a village. We're on a boat. We need a village. I know I've got some zombie villagers, but we're going to have to go to the nether to get them healed. So for now, let's look at a bog standard one. We've got a desert, so let's check that out. That didn't take too long, just a full day. And look at this. We've got an outpost here as well. That's going to be pretty interesting. 101, collecting villagers from a village. Place boat, go to sleep, wake up on day 41, and hey presto, villager captured. Here we go. First villager taking back to base. This is going to be cool. Nothing to see here. We're just two dudes in a boat. And so long, desert village. Come and join me, my friend. Across the ocean, back to our camp. And some villagers are going to be very handy. Let's have a look at this. We've got a bit of work to do. We've dug out a little bit of an area for our villagers. I'll put a couple of beds down here and try and make it a little pretty. I like to do a little bit of a basic farm for a couple of farmer villagers, and then they can help us with the breeding and also some basic trades. Okay, it's time to decorate. Let's grab ourselves some cobblestone, and we've got plenty of birch wood in a birch forest, so we'll use that for a little stair down into this area. Want to make sure we keep them as protected as possible, so a bit of a stone and cobblestone wall to keep our villagers safe in one area, and then we can use them to start breeding as well as trading a bunch of crops. We want to make sure we put in a little fence post and a couple of gates to make it easy for us to come in and hard for the villagers to come out. So I'll go get those bits and pieces and get this little yard done. Wow. We're halfway through the month already. How the time flies. A couple of gates in place and our villagers should be good to go. We've only got the one so far, but we know where the others are. On day 44, we spent some time hydrating the crops. We wanted to make sure the carrots were a continual supply of emeralds as well as food for villager breeding. Looking after the villagers is always tough. We want to make sure they don't escape, and we also want to limit the amount of spawning spaces in here. So a combination of buttons and half slabs to stop our villagers having any unnecessary visitors was very important. What else is very important? Sorting out this inventory. What a mess. I'll have to see what I can do about this before the end of the month. It's looking pretty good. Quite happy with how it all looks so far. It's pretty basic, but quite safe. And day 45 was really uninspiring. I was just hanging out collecting wool for the whole day. We've got a few sheep out here, so collecting up the wool for extra beds to help with our villager breeding. And if you ever have the issue of your villagers stamping out all your crops, install a wall and a trapdoor. That way, they can't jump up onto the composter. Alright mate, time to go in and become a farmer. Well, you were well behaved. I bet you don't have that much luck with our next villager. Back to the ocean and back to the desert village to collect our second villager. Let's do the boat trick again and loot everything else out of this village. They don't need it anyway. Nothing to see here. I haven't abducted anybody. You just stay there, sir. Oh, looks quite nice from the ocean as well. I'm quite liking how this is coming up. Alright, little dude. Yeah, of course. Yep. Bouncing on the bed. I know how to sort that out. Let's kite him in here. Hopefully, this will work. Here we go. Now. Oh. Pro move just there. This is good. We've got plenty of villagers and the carrots are doing their thing. We planted out a little bit more wheat and spent the rest of the day mucking around with their own crops. It was quite nice to know we've got villagers in our cause. Time to do some trading with them. We've got a bunch of carrots, so let's get the carrot trade going and start building up our emeralds. It looks like day 49 wasn't particularly interesting. Looks like I'm just here doing a little bit more mob proofing to make our camp a little bit safer. I'm not sure what's wrong with this guy. He seems to be stuck over here. I hope it's not going to be too much of an issue, but we'll see if we can get this sorted out. I think it's time to remove some babies. I want to start a little bit of a village breeder here, so I've got some work to do. The 50th day of this hardcore world, and we decided to make our first automatic farm. I started gathering up a bunch of resources because I think with villagers, the first thing we need to do is an iron farm. So we have to go get ourselves a few bits and pieces, and one thing includes a bucket of lava. So back down to lava level to grab ourselves a nice bucket of lava ready for the farm. How is the villager breeder going? They're definitely making babies. We just got to see if this guy tracks to the bed. Looks like it. Awesome. I think that's our third guy, and we're ready to go. Let's get started on this iron farm. We've got everything we need. Now we just have to build it. I think it's a pretty easy design, so let's see how we go with this. We'll keep our villagers nice and safe and prepare them for their new life as an iron farm. This design is pretty stock standard. I see quite a few YouTubers build the iron farm like this. That's the base of the iron farm. Now we've got the tricky bits, like getting the villagers into position and catching a zombie, but we'll do that in the morning. Day 53 was moving day. We had to get the villagers into position, and that took us a fair amount of time. But with some powered rails and a minecart, we got there in the end, and our 3 villagers are safe and sound, ready to go. Just let's not hit them. Well, you would think zombie wrangling would be the easiest bit, but it turned out to be the hardest. We put the roof up on the top of the iron farm, but do you think we could get zombies to fall into the composter? Absolutely not. So during the day, we just finished off the catching chamber for the iron golems. And day 54, we had some issues. Somehow a zombie got into our farm and, well, we lost our villagers. Not the end of the world, we have a couple of extras. Back to the evening in day 54, and we were just trying to get this zombie drop correct until the worst thing happened. One heart. Maybe I should have put the water in there before starting to do that. And again, we had some real issues trying to get that zombie to stay where it needed to be. The iron golem was causing me a fair bit of grief, so at least we know the killing chamber works, and we got our first few bits of iron. So we'll just leave that open now. We've got our next zombie, and he's fallen out again. Of course he's fallen out again. Why would he not? Okay, day 56. 3 days? Really? We got one standing on the composter and I literally had to punch it into position. But you know what? We are finally there. It's holding an item, so it shouldn't despawn, should it? And we've got a brand new iron farm. Sensational. Looking forward to using these iron blocks. Oh, and I completely forgot. We need to put a button up here because I believe iron golems can spawn up there. So now it's done. That's right, you're reading it correctly. We have reached 300 days. We started in January and now it's October. It is our 4th world, but hey, who's counting? At least the village breeder's working again. It was a pretty boring day. A little bit of enchanting, a little bit of level gathering, and just, you know, the normal stuff on a hardcore world. Another zombie villager. We have seen so many so far. Decided to do a little bit of mining out because I'm still not happy with all my chests sitting out in the open. So it's time to work into a cave. Not really sure what we're going to do around this area yet. My first thought was maybe an old fort. What do you think? I still have my eyes set on a mega base, similar to the spawn chunk tower, but I haven't restricted myself in this hardcore world. So here, we're just making up a basic villager trading hall. We're going to need a lot of quartz. Rails are in place, and we're ready to get the trading hall completed in November. What else would you like to see in November? I've got some big plans. We've got an iron farm, which is pretty early on, I think. And we've made some good progress. The 4th hardcore world on a year in Minecraft hardcore. We're still aiming for 365 days, so let's see what we can do. I really do hope you're enjoying this series, and I can really see a fort coming up around this farm. Let's see what we can do about that. Thank you so much for the ongoing support, everyone. I truly appreciate it. We'll see you next time.